Stopped or started?
Good.
Okay, so welcome to BA Vlogs. Today I'm going to make two different kinds of dressings for you, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. We had a crab boil last night, along with some shrimp, and I was going to make my wife a dressing for this week. So I figured in lieu of that, we would utilize some shrimp and some of the crab that we had left over from the crab boil last night. So we'll integrate that into the dressing. But what I got here is my black skillet, and I don't even have it hot yet. But I got probably 3 onions and a full stalk of celery. And those are sweet onions. I don't like using yellow onions, so we're going to saute both of those for our dressing. And I've made two pans of cornbread. So that should be more than enough for these two different kinds of dressings. So we got our onion and our celery on, and we'll go ahead and start with our cornbread while we're waiting on that. Two big things of cornbread. So both of these, you have to get right in there with your hands and break that cornbread up. Get on in there and crunch it up. While your onion and celery is cooking, you can pretty much get everything else done. I don't want to crunch it up too fine, but I do want it to, I don't want any real big chunks of cornbread in there. Make sure to wash your hands too. Already smells good. I like having those dark edges in there. There's one pan. And you can boil some eggs and cut them up in here and put the white and the yolk. But I'm not going to do that today because we're doing a seafood dressing, so we'll let those onions go till they start to look clear. It won't take them long. Work on this cornbread a little bit more. I just hate to see that shrimp and crab go to waste, and Thanksgiving being over, this will be a good time to test this for Christmas. We're down south on the coast, so I like that. And normally what we'd do is boil a hen and use the broth off of the hen for our dressing, but we don't have that today. Just enough to get that celery tender. I'm going to go ahead and add some sage. And cornbread. We'll taste it in a little bit, see if it's got enough in it. You can almost tell by looking at it if it's right or if it's wrong. Okay, so we look good right here. Those are nice and clear. Get me a spoon there. And we'll just divide it out equal. Because both of these are going to be made the same up till now. Both of these right now is basic cornbread dressing. Let's make sure they're pretty close. Alright. So I still got a little bit of onion in there. What I'm going to do is go ahead and put that shrimp and that crab in here. Moving fast. Just to release a little bit of that flavor. Has this been in the refrigerator from last night? So I'm going to kind of saute it a little bit before we put it in our dressing. Really haven't decided what we're going to call it. But also what I did was went out there to the boiling pot. And this is what we boiled the shrimp in. And this is where there's a whole lot of flavor. Add that in there. Just enough to heat it up. And this right here, you could eat. That's good enough to eat right there by itself. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add broth to both of these. I got some canned broth. Get a good video of it. That's good. Let me go ahead and turn this off. I don't want to cook it any more than it's been cooked. I just want to heat it up. And you're going to think when you're doing this that you've got too much liquid in here. And when you think you've got too much, that's when you've got it just about right. If you want it soupy. There ain't nothing like dry dressing. Nobody likes it. The last thing I'm going to put in these, this is our regular dressing. I'll go ahead and finish it up and add some salt and pepper to it, maybe a little more sage. But the last thing I'm going to add into here is an egg. 1 egg per cob of cornbread is enough. If you fixing a pan of dressing with 2 things of cornbread and use 2 eggs. Make sure and get it all mixed in there real good. Put a raw egg in there. Mix it in. So this is basic cornbread. 1 pan of cornbread, celery, onion, 1 raw egg, sage, salt, and pepper. Look at it, Bill. Well, that looks like too much. That looks soupy, which is exactly what we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit of salt, not much, because that broth, I don't buy the unsalted. I buy regular broth. Okay, we got the egg mixed up in there where it'll hold together good. And that is a good pan of cornbread, but we gotta taste it first and see if we got enough sage in there. I think we could use a little salt, plus some more sage. So I want enough sage in there where after you taste it, you get a little bit of afterbite. And you cook that at 350 degrees until the crust turns brown. You'll know when it's done. It'll firm up. So I would say with a little pan like this, a small pan like this, probably maybe 30, 40, 45 minutes. Just depends. So there's this 1 pan. We're going to pretend that that's preheated. Put it on 350, and that's good. Now we'll work on our Cajun cornbread. We've got cornbread, stuffing with peppers, celery and onions, and we'll go ahead, since this has got some liquid in it, we're going to go ahead and add this to it. All that crab meat and shrimp going into that dressing. And it's going to be fine. This right here will change your life. Not near enough soupy. Still gonna need some more. Like I say, when you think you got too much, you ain't got enough. Now, I put a little bit of sage in here first, that's good enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Old Bay and put it in here. This right here is a fresh pack. Also, something else we're doing different is we're adding a can of sweet corn to this too. So we got a shrimp, we got a crab, we got a sweet corn. And we'll mix it all together into one thing of goodness and happiness. So I don't know if we'll call this a seafood dressing, a Cajun dressing. We'll have to see how it comes out. I just want to make sure it's plenty soupy, not too dry. Put the shrimp, the crab, and everything in there. All we gotta do is put the egg. Maybe a little bit more seasoning. Alright. Put one egg in there. What do I do with my egg bowl? That'll help it to bind together. You know what? That's a pretty good sized pan. That's why you always put your eggs in a bowl first, just in case you get a bad egg. That was a bad egg. Don't ever put them directly in. That was a bad egg, right from the grocery store. And that one's good. So we're going to put 2 eggs in this one, seeing how it's a little bit bigger. All that up. I was going to make a fine seafood dressing. Got shrimp, crab, corn, onion, and celery. Taste test it. You gotta test it before you put it in the oven. I think it's gonna be good. So, give us a chance to put this in the oven. We'll be right back. So, we wound up letting our dressing cook for about an hour, actually about 55 minutes. So this is the traditional cornbread dressing, and this is our seafood cornbread dressing. So the only difference between the two is we added shrimp and crab meat and a can of corn and some of the broth from our seafood boil that we had last night. So I'll go ahead and try it. See what we got going on. So that's about, remember I told you, as soon as you put the liquid in, once you think it's too much, then add a little bit more, so you can see how firm this dressing is with all the liquid that I put in there. So this is our regular cornbread dressing. that we made. And it's hot. And it's good. And this is the one with the shrimp and the crab meat in it. So get me a little bit of shrimp. Oh yeah. That'll change your life. So that's all. I just wanted to share that with you. Those are the basics of making dressing. So I hope y'all enjoy it and can maybe use it for Christmas. Down south we're always boiling shrimp or some sort of seafood. So this was actually some snow crab that we had boiled last night, along with some shrimp and some Jonah crab. I shredded it up and threw it all in there. Alright, that's all I got. Talk to y'all on the next one.